The Imperial Hall of Avaros was built to intimidate. It worked. Tomas Hale had never seen anything like it. Obsidian pillars rising 50 meters high, banners woven from shimmering nanofabric, floors polished to such a shine he could see his own terrified reflection staring back at him. The chamber stretched so far that sound took a moment to catch up, echoing like it was unsure whether it belonged there. 2 armored honor guards flanked him as he walked. They were 8 feet tall, too tall for any creature to look comfortable, and covered head to toe in violet-laced combat plating. Their steps were perfectly synchronized, not a fraction of a second off. Tomas felt like a kid who accidentally walked into the wrong classroom. A very, very dangerous classroom. At the opposite end of the hall sat Empress Syrakath, ruler of the Avaros Empire, conqueror of 12 systems, and, according to several statues, slayer of something that looked suspiciously like a giant space centipede. She watched Tomas with 4 glowing eyes that scanned him like a living lie detector. When she spoke, her voice echoed through the hall as if the architecture itself bowed to her. "Human Tomas Hale," she said, "you claim your grandfather trained the Emperor's men?" Tomas swallowed. Hard. "Yeah," he said. "I do." A wave of shocked murmurs rippled through the court. One advisor nearly dropped his data slab. Another choked on some kind of fluorescent drink. The general reaction was the same, a human making a claim like that was unthinkable. The Empire considered humans useful, but unimpressive. Good traders, decent engineers, fond of jokes, but hardly warrior stock. For Tomas to imply that his grandfather trained early Imperial troops before humanity even officially joined the interstellar community was borderline blasphemy. Zyra raised a hand. Silence fell instantly. "Explain yourself," she commanded. Tomas rubbed his palms on his coveralls. "Look, I wasn't trying to start anything. I only came because you needed a mechanic. The request said your royal combat frame was malfunctioning, and you needed an expert." He gestured to himself. "I'm your guy. Certified zero-gravity systems specialist, adaptable reactor mechanic, and yeah, my grandpa taught me everything he knew. He used to tell me stories about working with early Imperial volunteers. Said he trained soldiers who hit like meteor strikes but had no idea how to keep their feet planted." Another round of outraged hissing filled the hall. Tomas winced. "Okay, yeah, maybe I shouldn't have repeated that part." The Empress slowly descended the steps of her throne, each movement precise and regal. When she stopped in front of Tomas, she was close enough that he could see faint bioluminescent veins under her skin. "Human," she said, "the Emperor's men were the founders of our greatest warriors. To claim relation is a dangerous statement." "I know," Tomas said, "but it's true." She stared at him a moment longer and slapped him. Not a symbolic tap, not a reprimand, a full-force strike from a superhuman ruler. Tomas's body nearly lifted off the ground. He flew backward, hit the polished floor, and slid until his back bumped into an ornamental pillar. Pain exploded across his face. His vision flickered. He heard gasps, shouts, a few panicked breaths. But Tomas just groaned, pushed himself up, and wiped the blood at the corner of his mouth. "Yep," he muttered hoarsely. "That's exactly how Grandpa described it." The hall froze. "Ungrounded," Tomas continued, shakily pointing at her. "Too much upper body force. Not enough leg drive. My grandpa said your people rely on brute strength instead of channeling momentum through the whole body." The Empress stared at him in stunned silence. The court whispered furiously. And at that moment, after one very stupid statement and one very serious slap, everything changed. The Empress's command. Instead of ordering his immediate death, Zyra tilted her head. "Human Tomas Hale," she said slowly, "if what you say is true, then you possess knowledge lost even to us. What do you mean lost? Tomas asked. Our earliest combat methods were recorded poorly. Some techniques disappeared over time. She stepped closer. If your grandfather taught our soldiers, then his training could restore what was forgotten. Tomas blinked. I'm just here to fix your robot. You will fix the royal combat frame, Zyra said. But you will also prove your claim.
How?
You will train me. Tomas stared. You want me to teach you combat? Yes. And if I refuse? You die.
Right.
Of course. Training in Empress. The Imperial combat grounds were massive, floating platforms, energy walls, shifting terrain grids. It felt like stepping into a military holodeck with a budget larger than some planets' GDPs. Zyra dismissed her guards and faced Tomas.
Begin, she said.
Tomas exhaled. All right, rule 1. Stop overcommitting your weight. You're leaning like you're trying to tackle a mountain. I am stronger than a mountain, she replied. Yeah, Tomas said, and that's why your footwork sucks. Her eyes flared in annoyance. Observe, Tomas said, stepping into a steady stance. Power starts from the ground. When Grandpa taught me, he said, a punch without grounding is like a ship without thrusters. Strong but directionless. He demonstrated a simple pivot, turning his hips, shifting his weight. Zyra copied him. Toes pointed wrong. Tomas corrected. She adjusted. Too rigid. She relaxed slightly.
Better, he said.
Now try pushing me. Zyra shoved him, gently by her standards. Even so, Tomas skidded backward a full meter. Okay, he said, rubbing his ribs. Maybe a little less enthusiasm. Despite her power, she learned quickly. Her movements changed, less brute force, more control. She began redirecting momentum instead of battling against it. Tomas showed her how to shift her center of gravity, how to conserve energy, how to strike without telegraphing. Her eyes widened as she realized each technique made her exponentially more effective. This, she whispered, is nothing like Imperial training. Yeah, Tomas said, because we focus on adaptability. Humans are good at improvising. For beings of such small size, she said, your efficiency is impressive. I'll take that as a compliment. Repairing the royal combat frame. During breaks, Tomas worked on the towering royal combat frame, a 10-meter armored exo-warrior used only by the Empress. He crawled inside access ports, replaced fried capacitors, recalibrated servo-link joints, and cleaned ancient grime that shouldn't have existed on a royal machine. But then he found something unexpected. A tiny stamped marking on a power coupler. A name. Hale Systems Earth. Tomas froze. His grandfather's company. A tiny workshop that folded long before Tomas was born. What the hell? Further inspection revealed more modifications. Old Earth-style circuitry, manual calibration points, adaptive servo logic that predated modern Imperial tech. His grandfather hadn't just assisted the Empire. He'd helped build their earliest machines. Tomas swallowed something between pride and disbelief. Grandpa, you crazy old legend. When he finished repairs and rebooted the frame, it responded with flawless synchronization, better than any Imperial engineer had gotten it to run in decades. Tomas wasn't just fixing history. He was awakening it. The Trial of 3. The next morning, Empress Zyra stood before the palace with a firm declaration. Tomas Hale shall undergo the Trial of 3. Instant chaos. Your Majesty, he's human. He will die. This is beneath the Empire. But Zyra's glare silenced them. His claim must be tested. Tomas muttered, wish I'd lied about the grandpa thing. Trial 1. Combat against cadets. 2 elite cadets stepped forward, shock staves humming. The fight erupted instantly. The cadets were fast faster than Tomas expected, but they were predictable. Their species relied on overwhelming force. No subtlety. Tomas dodged the first swing, letting the cadet's momentum drag him off balance. He stepped aside and tapped the back of the cadet's knee. The trainee crashed down, stunned. The second struck high. Tomas pivoted low, redirected the strike, twisted the cadet's arm, and flipped him flat onto his back. Gasps spread across the audience. Tomas shrugged. Footwork. Trial 2. Survive the shifting arena. The arena transformed into a labyrinth of rising platforms and collapsing floors. Energy beams sliced horizontally across the field. Tomas ran, ducked, climbed, and improvised his way through, moving with the chaotic determination of someone who had spent years repairing things while getting electrocuted. At one point, he hung from a ledge with just 3 fingers. "Why do I always end up dangling somewhere?" he muttered. He hauled himself up just before the platform fell away. He made it through the finished gates gasping for air, but alive. Empire spectators were stunned. "Humans are resilient," one guard whispered. Trial 3. Duel with the Empress. Zyra wore ceremonial armor infused with energy veins. She moved like a storm. Tomas was so nervous he forgot to bow. Then she attacked. He dodged the first strike by instinct. Her second blow nearly cracked his ribs, but he redirected her momentum exactly as he taught her. They clashed in a dance of power and precision. She adapted quickly, too quickly, and soon Tomas was struggling to keep up. But he was not fighting to win. He was fighting to demonstrate. Every move she made reflected his teachings. Every strike she landed showed her evolution. When she finally pinned him to the ground, Tomas wheezed, "Yeah, okay, you win." She extended a hand. "You have proven yourself." Tomas groaned. "Can we skip any more slaps?" She actually smiled. Endng grandfather's legacy revealed. Later that evening, Zyra summoned Tomas to a private chamber. There, a holographic display flickered to life. Ancient photographs appeared. There he was, Tomas's grandfather, young, intense, standing among towering Imperial soldiers, correcting their stances, demonstrating combat drills, even modifying early weapons. Tomas's throat tightened. "He really was here," he whispered. Zyra nodded. "Your grandfather helped shape the foundation of our elite units. His teachings were sacred, but much was lost over the centuries. Only emperors may access these archives." She turned to him. "And now you know the truth." Tomas wiped his eyes. "He never told me this. Not all of it." "Perhaps he believed humanity wasn't ready," Zyra said softly. "Or perhaps he wished for you to discover it yourself." She stepped closer. "You carry his legacy, not in blood alone, but in spirit." A threat descends. Suddenly, alarms blared. A guard rushed in. "Your Majesty, Dravic Dominion warships are breaching the perimeter." Zyra's expression hardened. "Prepare all defenses." She turned to Tomas. "Is the Royal Combat Frame operational?" He smirked. "Better than it's been in decades." "Good," she said. "Fight beside me." Tomas blinked. "Huh. You are a Hale," she declared. "And the Empire once again needs a Hale." The Battle of Avaros. The Dominion attack was brutal. Mechs swarming the palace, hover tanks firing plasma rounds, skies burning with energy fire. Zyra and Tomas sprinted into the hangar, where the giant Royal Combat Frame stood, glowing with renewed life. Tomas leaped into the co-pilot cradle as Zyra entered the command chair. "Systems synced," Tomas called out. "Then we reclaim our home," Zyra said. The frame strode onto the battlefield like a resurrected titan. Dominion mechs fired. Zyra dodged effortlessly, drawing on the very techniques Tomas had taught her. Tomas managed power routing, targeted strike points, and redirected adaptive systems. They fought as one. Human intuition and Imperial strength fused into a single unstoppable force. The Dominion forces crumbled. Within minutes, the battlefield fell silent. The Empire had won. The ceremony of honor. Back in the throne room, soldiers lined the hall, slamming fists to their chests in respect. Zyra approached Tomas. "You saved my empire," she said, "just as your grandfather once saved our ancestors." Tomas rubbed his sore shoulder. "I just fixed a machine and didn't die along the way." She lifted a hand. Tomas flinched. "Please don't slap me again." "It is not a slap," she said, gently pressing her palm to his cheek. "It is the Imperial gesture of honor." "Oh," Tomas said.
"Yeah,
"That's nicer." She smiled. "Tomas Hale, descendant of the first human instructor, will you remain in the Empire? As advisor, trainer, and companion in all battles to come." Tomas looked around. The soldiers who now trusted him, the Empire his grandfather helped shape, the Empress who had gone from threat to something else entirely. He took a deep breath. "Yeah," he said. "I'll stay. Someone has to keep teaching you how to throw a proper punch." The Empress laughed softly. And thus began the second great Hale legacy. The human who reclaimed forgotten tradition, trained an Empress, and changed the Empire with one unbelievable claim and one unforgettable slap.